Hey guys, this is Vu. I wanted to show you how we set up our lighting here at the office. We use VPRs and intraoral cameras and things like that to do our close-up photos, but for headshots, we like to do a bigger setup. And most dentists who have studio portrait lights, it's a whole dedicated room. So either they set up and break down each shot, or more likely, they just dedicate the room to nothing but studio photography. And there's nothing wrong with that, actually. There's a lot of good advantages to that. I didn't have the room to dedicate solely for photography all the time. And so we wanted to create a space where we could shoot quickly, where you didn't have to be a trained photographer to use it, and you could continue to see your patients without it interfering with the busy workflow of a dental office. So this is Studio 290. We designed this with the classic two softbox setup, one to the left, one to the right. In addition to those, we have three edge lights here, which provide separation and definition on the sides of our subjects. And we've created a set of marks, like you would see in a Broadway or film production, for our patients, not our actors, to stand in so they know where they are for the lights to be all balanced on them. So we hooked up everything with ceiling mounts. One thing that we added here were safety clips. So each of our studio boxes has a steel safety wire so that should the mounting come loose, the safety wire will keep it from dropping onto the ground, and hopefully not on anyone's head either. And there's a simple wireless power switch. This is not hardwired into the wall or anything. It's just a radio trigger that makes everything go on in one push. And you can see just like that, everything comes on at once. I have my key lighting set up. I have my edge lights set up. The sides of the cabinets here act as reflectors and fill. So everything is nice and balanced. It's a very easy, flattering setup that works with pretty much all face types. It works with pretty much any kind of imaging device you want to use. It's your phone, your camera, your giant camera, your studio camera. They will all work with this. And there isn't any skill. Anything can be used on full automatic mode and it will take a good image. I wanted to have basically a giant VPR, something easy and one touch to use. We also wanted to have flexibility in terms of our production for the backdrop as well. We recently added these polyvinyl background tiles. They just purchased them on Amazon. They just stick on with adhesive tape. We've used a similar textured backdrop in black in our other room next door here. And that one is a very dramatic look. We've used that occasionally for some of our printing videos. But here I wanted to go with white and have the flexibility to do other things. So we actually installed a multi-roller system. And this multi-roller system allows us the flexibility to drop down a green screen. The green backdrop is important because you can digitally superimpose various virtual backgrounds if you needed to. Think of it like a zoom, but without having to use the filter. And so you'll get a nice clean edges and not the weird zoom artifacts if we were supposed to do this, if we were intending to do it this way. We also have the classic white backdrop. It's a little harder to pull off white with continuous lighting. It's much easier to do that with flash lighting, but we can also use a white backdrop. But my favorite personally is the black backdrop. And that's actually why we really need these edge lights here, is because when you have dark colored hair people on a black backdrop, you have to have edge lighting. Otherwise they kind of, their hair just disappears and they look bald, or they actually are bald. But you want to have good separation and good edge lighting. It helps to define a difference between your background and your subject and makes them pop. It shapes the face. It's generally flattering for most people, and it actually does have the effect of slimming you as well. So it's a really nice effect we have. There's a professional photographer in our Hansen Fong who's huge into edge lighting, and so we took his principles and applied it to have nearly circumferential edge lighting. That to me is actually more important than the key lights, which most photographers focus on. And the most important thing of all, though, is to have something available and ready. And that's what we aim to do here, is to have something that didn't get in the way. Again, none of this has to be broken down or gotten out of the way. We can still work and see our patients, and our patients can walk back and forth safely without bumping into any of it. And all we need to do to turn it on and off is one single switch. Bring up your phone right after we've taken our intraorals, and we can take our face shots. We can take our neutral face, our smiling face, our profile, and then we're done with our composite photos. And if we have a smile mock-up, we do a few more shots in that. But that's it. That's a key. Whatever you're setting up, you want to make it simple, reproducible. Hopefully make it, as I said, semi-portable like this, where it doesn't get in your way. If you don't have the benefit of doing something like this, then designate a room where it can just remain set up. That way, there's no friction involved getting the shot. I'm Vu. Thanks for watching our tour of Studio 290. I hope this gives you some ideas and inspires you to up your photography game in your dental office.